Welcome to Mommispace, the podcast for moms of all stages. My name is Aubrey Coots, and this podcast was created to give moms a voice to share their experiences and to share that there's not just one way to be a mom. This is a place where you can learn to love the woman inside the mother. Welcome back to Mommispace. This is Aubrey, and today we are here with April Dillow from The Stamped Lily, and we are so excited to interview her. I got connected to April through a friend, Sarah, several months back with her business. I got to be a little model for one of her shoots, so that was super fun. But we're going to hear from April today and hear more about her business, what she does, her mom life, and learn from her. So, April, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So exciting.
Yeah, I'm so glad to interview you and learn from you today for our Mompreneur month. So to get started, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and the story of your journey into motherhood?
Yeah, so I am 36 and I am a wife and I am a mom to 3 kids, 7, 6, and 4. And I guess the journey into motherhood would be when I met my husband.
Makes sense.
I was actually an accountant for 8 years.
Okay.
And when I met my husband, that is what I was doing. And it's funny because something happens when you I guess you fall into this role and you meet the man that you're going to marry, and the things that you thought you wanted for your life kind of change. And I thought I was going to be a working, career driven, woman. And then I met my husband and just thought, that's not what I really want. So we made the decision when we decided to get married, we decided to start a family, and I made the decision to pull out of my full-time job. So I decided to go back to school to be a teacher. And so I finished my teaching credential right as my daughter was born.
Okay.
And so I actually have that as well. But just through that whole process of having kids, we just thought it would make more sense for me to stay home. So we decided to have more babies. And so 3 babies later, I'm still at home and just doing this small business thing, which is new. And I don't think I planned it. It just kind of happened, but I'm so grateful for it now. So
yeah, that's super cool. And it's cool to hear. I feel like that's kind of the story for a lot of women.
Yeah.
They're working and then, one thing leads to the next and you're like, okay, I don't know if this is what I want to keep doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that being said, what made you decide to start your business, and how has that been in the midst of mom life of 3 kids?
Well, the Stamp Lily started actually because of, I was gifting a gift to Sarah, actually.
Oh, okay.
So Sarah had just lost her brother, and I just wanted her to feel loved on. There's not anything in those moments that are going to make anyone, it's not going to fix it. It's not going to make it all better, right? But I just wanted her to feel loved and thought of. And I don't even know where I was, honestly. I was on Pinterest or something, and I saw these these little boxes you could put together to kind of bless someone in your life if they were going through something that was difficult.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's really cool. So I started researching these boxes, and I saw this stamped necklace, and stamping was kind of popular. And I look at this necklace and I'm like, I could buy it for $30, or I think I could make it for like $120. That makes more sense, right? But I don't know what it was. I just wanted to try it,
Yeah.
So I asked my husband, hey, I just want to give this a shot. Can I, this is what I want to do. I want to put together this box for Sarah. Can I stamp this necklace? And of course, he's very supportive. So he's like, sure, let's give it a go. So Hobby Lobby, we went, and I bought my very first stamping supplies, and I stamped a necklace for Sarah in the garage that night. And it was just a very simple necklace with some plates on it. And I had stamped her brother's initial in a little metal piece. And And I put it together in a box. My husband made the box, and I called it a blessing box. And my husband, so he made the box. I put some handmade goat's milk soap from a friend of mine. I made her some cards. And then I printed out some promises from scripture, God's promises from scripture. And I rolled them up into tiny little balls, and I put them in a glass jar. And that I gifted that to her.
Yeah.
And that was the start of the stamping thing. I had all these supplies. I mean, not a ton, but had a little bit of supplies. And
Yeah.
I just used it at first as a way to just love on people. And that's pretty much the heart of how my business got started in the first place.
Yeah.
Was just, I don't know, like giving someone a word of encouragement in something that they could wear. And I loved it. And so the business part of it kind of started on accident, honestly. I made a necklace for a friend of mine who was a mompreneur. I guess you could call her that. She was a stay-at-home mom, and she did her own business. So it was a sign business. And she was super encouraging and said, friend, like, this could be something. And I thought, okay, well, I mean, I'll give it a go. Like, we'll see,
Yeah.
And the cuffs thing came about because I have always liked them. I have seen them on Instagram. I'd seen them in stores. And so I started doing more research about that. And so I went back to Joe, my husband, and was like, hey, so I want to buy some different stuff now.
Yeah. I was just getting started.
I'm just going to give this a shot too. So,
Yeah.
so I bought some leather stuff, and I started playing with that, and I made my first cuff. I stamped it redeemed, and yeah, I love it. My friend Becca owns that cuff now. She wears it proudly. And, but I think honestly I remember telling my husband, I think I started a business, and I don't really know if that's what
I didn't mean to.
I didn't mean to. I had just made some cuffs for some girls, and they just really started liking them, And so, I thought, not that I felt bad, but I thought, oh gosh, we didn't talk about this first. Like, we should have had a discussion, but, it kind of just happened naturally. And I actually had another friend, my friend Jennifer was having a holiday boutique, and she was hosting it at her home. And she said, hey, those little bracelets you've been making, so you want to come sell them? And I'm like, what? No, I don't really know. But I think what was so cool about that whole experience, because I think I had a month to prepare.
Okay.
And I think what was really cool is that having that deadline there, having somebody expecting that of me and encouraging me and saying, no, you can do this, it got me through the part where I wanted to quit. Like, I would have for sure been like, nope, too hard, or I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? And I had that commitment. So I tell her all the time that is what kept me going. So anyways.
Yeah. I love hearing that it started with I think you said you called it like a blessing box.
Yes.
First off, that is beautiful. And like, I love that idea of making something like that for friends when they're going through hard stuff. So that's super cool just to hear about that. But that you kind of said, like, that's kind of like the heart of the Stamped Lily, is wanting to, encourage and bless people through these pieces that you're making. So it's cool to hear that, hear kind of the beginning stages of it, and then just to see the work that you have now and the pieces that you make now. And, so many people that are blessed by that and wearing your jewelry and being encouraged by looking at it on their wrist daily.
Thank you.
So, yeah, no, that's super cool. So with it starting on accident, I'm just curious, how, what does that look like kind of in the day to day, and having 3 younger children? When do you work on stuff for your business? How do you do it?
So when I first started, I had I had a little table in the garage. My husband set it up. He, realized it wasn't going anywhere. I moved from my kitchen table because I had taken over that. So he cleared out a desk and made a desk and an area in the garage for me. And so it looked like then, my youngest was a baby still. Okay. So, I remember working on my workbench, watching my monitor at night. And I I was all the way in the garage, which is the other side of the house, which is not where they were. And so I propped the garage door open. I watched my monitor at night. I worked nights and I got up early. That is how working started. So how it works now is I try to work at night, but with the kids being older and them demanding more of my energy during the day, I'm tired at night. So I don't do a lot of my bulk making at night. There are some things that I do at night for sure. But what happens is during the day, I have 2 kids in school now, and James is the only one at home. And so what happens now is I try to do a little of both. So I will get him set up with something. I don't know. Is it a puzzle? Is it maybe he's having his, morning showtime, or if he's playing with a toy, or, or I just dump out all my old keys on my work floor and he goes through them and plays with them, or, you know what I mean? So he's in the shop with me.
Yeah.
And so that's when I do a lot of my bulk making. Is just my demand is a little bit higher now than it was in the beginning. So I can't just work at night. I have to try to find other ways to do that. And my husband's job, he's a fireman.
Okay.
So he's got days off. So sometimes what we've been trying to do now is I've been trying to put it in the calendar. So where I say, you have, 3 days off or 4 days off. I need one of those days. Can one of those days be a work day for me? Yeah. And then, then I'm working during the day, and then he's on daddy duty, during the day. So, play dates have been really helpful too, because the kids, when they're playing together, you can kind of do other things. So I have a friend that comes over, and she brings her daughters over, and they play, and they're having so much fun. So then we bounce back and forth. So I'm in the shop making something, and then I pop back out, we make lunch, and then, or you know what I mean? It's I'm probably not the most efficient, honestly, because I'm bouncing back and forth. I can't, and that's okay. It's real. That's just the way it is. And I'm okay with it. And that's what, and I just feel like I'm not doing it perfect. And I don't know that there ever will be a time where I think that I am, but this is what's working for us right now. And so I'm just rolling with it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love hearing that you said, like, even your husband helping out. It's like, okay, you're on daddy duty like all day so I can work. And I kind of had a conversation earlier today with my husband, and he's in a season right now. Like he kind of works during the school year because he does college ministry. And so during the summers, he works from home a lot more. And, he's able to get all this stuff done where I'm like, man, I feel like I get nothing done in a day. But I'm like, oh yeah, I have 3 small children.
Yes.
So it's like, I know I totally get that, where you're like, maybe I'm not the most efficient, and I don't have a business like yours. So, but I know that feeling of like, okay, I'm trying to get stuff done and this is my plan, but you're also raising 3 little humans. So
exactly. And it doesn't go as planned. And I think, that's why my window of production time is the way that it is, because it has to be, because, kids get sick and they stay home from school, and then mommy duty is, obviously that is my first priority. So, what is going on at home is more, obviously is more important. So you just do the best you can.
Yeah. No. And I love hearing too about your son being in the shop with you and playing with the keys. And I feel like that's kind of cool to like involve your kids in what you're doing. And, even as your kids get older, maybe they can help you more or things like that. So that's kind of fun too.
It's true. And my daughter is old enough. She's going to be 8 this year, and she loves to help in the shop. So now she's getting to do packaging. So she's pulling out envelopes and attaching labels and getting business cards, and, so she's getting the hang of it now, to where I say, I got these 3 orders. Can she can do like set up 3 packages for me.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't have a small business, but I would love when my kids are older, if I ever did, for them to, help out with that. Be like your little helpers.
My little worker bees.
Yeah, that's awesome. I did mean to ask, I was curious, where did the name come from?
Oh yeah. So, lilies are my favorite flower.
Okay.
They were, my whole wedding was lots of lilies. My wedding
Aw.
was all lilies,
Yeah.
and all my girls had lilies. And so I kind of felt like I wanted something to do with lilies. And honestly, I think just because I stamp, so that's just where the stamped lily came from.
Yeah.
And it's funny because now it sounds totally normal because I've been saying it for 5 years. But at first I wasn't sure about it. I just think, I don't know, naming things is hard, and knowing what you're going to want in 5 years, or even, I don't even think I knew that that's what was going to happen, honestly.
Yeah.
But I wanted something creative. And so what I started to do is started coming up with these ideas and these names. And I started looking up Instagram accounts. And then I thought, like one of them was the rustic lily.
Okay.
I was like, oh, rustic lily, that is something. I don't know what it is, but it's something. Like, they had an Instagram account. So I was like, okay, scratch that off the list. What else?
Yeah.
What else? What else explains this business?
Yeah. And it seems like that's a perfect name. And like you said, it's like, okay, it's 5 years later and now it just feels normal. So obviously that was a good choice.
Yes, thank God.
Yeah. You're like still questioning it.
I know.
I'm like, I don't know.
I don't want to go through all the work of changing business cards. So we're just going to keep it at this point and own it.
I think it's perfect. So in having your business, like over the last 5 years, what has been one of the best things and one of the hardest things about working while being a mom at home, and how have you overcome that?
So by far the best thing is the flexibility that it allows me. So I can just helping in my kids' classroom and going to awards things and going on field trips and just being there to drop them off and pick them up. And I just love that. I love that I have that ability. It is a gift, and I recognize that it's a gift, and I'm grateful for that opportunity to still kind of help provide for our family, but still have the flexibility that I have. The hardest part, I'd say for sure, is time. Christy Wright talks about like not looking in your rearview mirror. So when you're at work, to be at work, and when you're at home, to being at home, and that being okay. But when you work from home, you have to bounce back and forth so much that it's really hard for me to be present. Does that make sense? Like where I'm, you know what I mean? And so when I'm pouring into my kids, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about what I'm not doing for the business, or orders that are hitting their, week mark or whatever it is, and when I'm working, I'm thinking about what I'm not doing with the kids. So I think that's a common thread for women. I don't know. I mean, I've heard it before, and I think that's why it's a popular topic of discussion. And I just think it's a big insecurity of mine, and that is where I'm going to be attacked. So I feel insecure in that area. So I think combating that is just I don't know, just recognizing, like looking at the things that my kiddos do and the things that they say to me, and just remembering to tear down the lies. I'm a good mom, and I know that. So sometimes it's just really hard to remember. I don't know, like we just tend to forget so easily, and our kiddos give us so much grace, and we are so hard on ourselves. Just trying to see myself a little bit more through the eyes of my kids, because they think I'm doing fantastic. So taking a cue from them a little bit more often.
And I feel like our kids know what's up, like they, I'm the same way. Like I'm super hard on myself. And last week I talked to my friend Kelly, and she talked about how we live in a culture where we get shoulded on. Should have done this. You should have done this. And I shared that I do that to myself, where it's like, man, I should have done this more today, or I should have, played more today with my kids, or I should have read more books, or, but I feel like they're so in love with us and have so much grace for us, where it's like, we need to have a little bit more of that for ourselves. And I agree. I think that is like a way to overcome that, is like taking a step back and kind of looking at the big picture. Like you said, like the truth, knowing, no, I am a good mom. I like love my family well. I'm providing for them.
Yes.
And having to kind of refocus on those things. So yeah, that's really good. Thanks for sharing that. what is some advice that you would give to other moms who are wanting to work doing something they're passionate about? I know like you said, you kind of like accidentally started this, so maybe I'm curious what your answer will be, to this question. But I guess just, like now being several years into it, and still being passionate enough to keep doing it, what's some advice that you'd give other moms that want to work from home?
I would say, what I tell women now, is just to not be afraid, I think, or maybe rather, if you are afraid, to try anyway, because I just feel like I don't know, we're too scared. I feel like I get that a lot. Like women will send me, like pictures of things that they're making, and I'm like, that's great. Just go for it. Try it.
Yeah.
What is, like, what are you going to lose? What's the most that you're going to lose? Some time, a little money maybe, but I just think that, I don't know why, but we're scared. And I think that I would just encourage, I don't know, I would just encourage women to do it anyways, to at least try. I guess I just have this thought that I don't want to get to the end of my life and wonder what would have happened if I had said yes. And especially if there's a passion or something that you're really passionate about, or something inside of you that feels like you need to do something. And I guess I would just say you're not going to know until you try. And I guess I would risk, like, even if I failed, at least I would know. Totally. Like the risk there is risk involved, absolutely, but gosh, so many good things happen outside your comfort zone.
Oh yeah.
And it's so, I mean, there have been times where I have stayed in my comfort zone, and there have been times where I have stepped out of it, and I can say that. So, like, beautiful things happen on the outside of your comfort zone, and it's dang scary, but you just don't know what that's going to lead to next. Even if you don't start a business, even if you just, I don't know, maybe you just meet a new friend, or maybe it's just, making connections, or just being more confident that you were, that you did something, or that you did start.
I love hearing, you have saying that you have friends that will text you pictures of things they're making, and you're just like cheering them on. And that's probably like kind of intimidating, because it's like, but you actually have a business and you do this regularly, but I still want to show you,
Yeah.
And I think that's something that just as women, like we're seeking that approval. And I think kind of being on the other side of that, it's an encouragement to me that I'm like, man, I want to be a better cheerleader for my friends that are wanting to do things like this. If they're like throwing out ideas, like that's encouraging to me to think like, how can I better cheer on friends to pursue those passions and to step out of their comfort zones? And
yes,
even if they're going to fail, this is kind of like a quick, funny fail story. But I recently got a Cricut. Do you know what that is?
Oh yeah.
For my birthday, and I'm like obsessed with it. But so I'm just like putting, vinyl stickers on everything.
Everybody's getting labeled.
Yeah, everything's getting labeled in my entire house. But so I got some cheap tumblers, like cups, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make some cute tumblers. And so I like made one for myself and for a friend, and she was like, she was being like you. She's like, you should totally like make these and sell them. Okay, so I did. I made like 5, and I sold a couple of them. 2 of them, because they were so cheaply made, cracked, and like the cups broke, or I could even get them to the friends that wanted them. I was like, forget my Cricut.
It's all part of the process.
But you know what? I learned, and I even said to those girlfriends, I was like, I'm sorry your cup broke, so I'm not going to mail it to you. And when I have more time and a better quality of cup, maybe I'll try again, and I'll let you know. Sometimes you got to fail.
Yes, it's true.
It's not going to work. And maybe Cricut cups is not my gifting, but that's okay.
Yes, it's true. And I do want to say too, I don't want to not say, like, if to try to appreciate the season that you're in, because I know maybe you do have this heart and this desire and this passion to do something, but maybe it's not the right time. And that's okay. That's totally fine. But I think what we as women do is compare, of course.
Yeah.
And that's a nasty thing to do, but I see it seems like we all do it a little. But just to appreciate where you're at. And if right now is not the right time, then that's okay. And being okay there will be a time. And you have to figure out if that's right for you. This is right for us. And, I have seen God through this whole thing, and I have prayed about this business a lot. And so I don't feel like it's not the right time for me. I feel like I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I just don't want to leave that out. I would hate for a woman on the other end of this to be like, thinking that she should be doing something that she's not,
Yeah, that's a great point. No, and I'm an overcommitter, and I'm learning that I can't say yes to everything. Yeah. So it's good for people like me to hear that maybe even if it is something you're passionate about and you're like trying to make it happen, maybe it's just not the right season. And that doesn't mean that will always be the case, but that's a great reminder. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that for sure. Okay. So I have one final question that I love to end with that doesn't have to do with your business necessarily. It could, but what is a legacy that you want to leave for your children?
I read this question and I thought, oh boy, this is deep. I know. Think about this.
We end with the doozy.
I know it's a really way to go out. The one thing, well, a couple things, I guess. The legacy I want to leave is just that I want them to love God, and I want them to love others well. And if they remember anything about me, I want them to remember that I didn't do it perfect. Yeah. That I messed up, but that I asked for forgiveness, that I loved God the best way that I knew how, or that I could, that they saw me love others well, and that they saw me chase dreams, and that even though I was afraid of those things, that I still said yes in the midst of that. So
yeah. No, that's super beautiful. And yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. I want those things for my kids too, but I love hearing that. Yeah. Love God, love others, and chase the things you're passionate about, chase your dreams. And even in the midst of fear, I feel like important for all of us to be reminded of. So.
It's not super complex, right? I feel like.
No, it doesn't need to be.
It could have been a more complicated
answer.
But
I love it.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Well, thank you so much, April, for being on Mommispace today, and just for sharing about your business and about your life, and what it's like to be a mom while working. And
you are welcome. Thank you so much for having me. And I thought it would be fun because discounts are fun. But for your listeners, I have a discount code. Is that fun?
Ooh, yeah. Sure.
Okay. So whoever is listening, if you use the code Mommispace10, you will get 10% off your order. So you can find me at thestampedlily.com and on Instagram and Facebook at thestampedlily.
Perfect. And I will put that in the show notes too, so people listening can check out the show notes and see the discount code and know where to shop. Thanks, April.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to check out all of the goodness from today's episode on the show notes, and share this with a friend if it impacted you in any way. You can also leave a review on iTunes so other mamas can join in the movement of loving the woman inside the mother. Join our online Mommispace community every day by following us on Instagram at Mommispace, that's MOMMI space, where you can interact with me, some of our past guests, ask simple or hard questions, and give your valuable input on how to make Mommispace an even more beautiful, safe place for mamas all over the world. All my love to you, mama. You are enough.
She knows her heart tried it once. Already counted up the cost. In the middle of something, balanced budget, fold the towels. Interruptions, part of it now. Clock strikes 12, there's no magic wearing off. Hand to the plow. The original boss, yeah, the original boss. Ba-ba-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-da-da. You got your work cut out, mama, you already did. How do you do it, mama? You listen closely, let go of the little things. Heart stay open to what it brings. Clock strikes 12, there's no magic wearing off. Into the